I want to thank all of you for being here to support the work that we're doing to carry out the mission that we know is so close to your hearts.
Tonight, we're gathered in the spirit of partnership and collaboration with a shared vision of improving the lives of many around the world. We're also here to recognize the extraordinary work of two individuals who have done a lot to that end, Richard Branson and Zainab Salbi.
The name Richard Branson, I think, for all of us is really synonymous with innovation. So Richard has innovated in the airline industry, he's innovated in the music industry, he's innovated in the aerospace industry. And tonight we are honoring Richard Branson for his innovative leadership in philanthropy. As one of the world's most successful business entrepreneurs, he's brought this same approach to bear on what seem to many to be intractable problems facing the world today. From his Virgin Unite Philanthropic Foundation, to his founding role in the Elders, to his creation of the Carbon War Room, Sir Richard has time and time again brought people together around novel solutions to climate change, to human rights injustices, and global poverty.
Women for Women's work is based on the theory that when women are healthy, have an income, are decision makers, and have strong social networks, they are in a much stronger position to advocate for their rights. Zainab Salbi has built her organization into a great force for good, and she has used her powerful gifts of connecting with most everyone she reaches: women, war survivors, world leaders, partners, supporters, and the public, to deliver the message that stronger women build stronger nations. Zainab, I asked your friend Jody Evans, what makes you extraordinary? And she said, she goes in and does what's needed. And she does it with joy, and she does it in a new way every time, and she does it again and again.
I just wanted to say few things. One is when you invest in the stock market, sometimes you lose, sometimes you win, but when you invest in women, you will always win. And this has been the story. I grew up in the Iraq-Iran war. I learned that we see war only from a frontline perspective, and we don't see a war from a backline perspective. And if the front line is fought by men, the back line is really led by women. And that we're missing on the discussion of what war is and what peace is when we're not including a woman's voice.
With respect to Tubman and Becky, he sat down and he wrote me a seven-page handwritten letter sort of justifying why he was doing what he was doing. And although I didn't agree with his letter, decided that something positive should come out of the correspondence. So we agreed to see if something positive couldn't come out, and in discussions decided that we should set up a Center for Disease Control, or a war room in Africa, to really try to coordinate all the various organizations that are working on these problems.
It's one thing to develop the passion. It's another to develop the strategy, and the reason both of you are getting this award is that you have, in fact, collaborated with people who aren't necessarily in agreement with yourselves to try to find ways of improving the situation.
For me, working with Women for Women International and making it possible for so many women to connect, and that you don't have to have lots of resources to be a philanthropist. The ask for us is for every woman to sponsor one woman survivor of war by sending her $27 a month and exchange a letter with her. And it's the park ranger, and it is the flight attendants, and it is Angelina Jolie. And they're all philanthropists who are saying, I'm gonna help one woman stand on her feet at a time. And I'm gonna exchange letter with her and get to know who she is, but get her to know who I am. The simplicity of that is what makes me, and to see so many women have been impacted by that, it's what keeps me going, and it goes back to the personal, my mother's death, the professional, the women in Congo, and the women in Iraq, and the women in Afghanistan, and the reward, the women in America and in England and so many other parts who are saying we're all part of this simple action and simple movement.
Peter Gabriel and myself thought that maybe the world could do with a group of 12 women and men who had enormous moral authority in the world, who maybe were in the last 10, 15, 20 years of their lives, who had put egos behind them, who had no axes to grind, but who collectively would be a much stronger unifying force than individually.
I think we are living in an era in which there is much more of a beginning of a dialogue. I would say we are in the early phase of it, not in the middle of the phase of it, of really looking at how our, not segmenting nonprofit social means only these impacts, and for-profit means that's impact. We all need to measure our impacts in a measurable way. What happened in her socially, but also economically. What's the impact of our collaboration? So I do think there is actually a lot of movement in that discussion.